This is part two of the other video. If you didn't watch it already, go back and follow it in the link and go watch it. You're going to enjoy it. But this is part two about energy, frequency, and vibration, and how it is that sometimes in life we may do all of the right things, but yet things are still happening that are out of our control that we are not okay with. And we're going to talk about that in this video.
So if you watched the first video, it was about health and wellness and our perspective, and we shared some physical tools that would assist you to live a more healthy, vibrant lifestyle. And towards the end, we started going more into, okay, you can do everything physically correct, but what is the underlying issue that caused that physicalness? So I had brought up that everything is energy first before it turns into matter. And so that is the same when it comes to physical elements that we deal with. And so from my perspective and learning experience is that when we have a thought, a belief that is out of alignment with our true self, and that is repetitive for a long period of time without us recognizing it and having a resolution for it, then it eventually comes out into a physical element that we're needing to deal with. Because most people, when they're actually in pain and dealing with something physical, then they're going to be giving their attention to it. Now, the unfortunate part is many are not aware. They just then assume, okay, well, I just got this physical thing. It's my genes, it's this or that, and so now I just have to deal with this physical thing and go to the doctor and figure out. And this is a disclaimer here, we're just advocates for health.
Yeah, we are not healthcare professionals or advisors in any way, shape, or form. Definitely do what your doctor tells you. Absolutely.
We're just allowing you to have another perspective from tools that we gained along the way that can assist.
We're in preventative care, health and wellness, advocates for preventative care.
So within that, I can give a little example of, because there's physical, and then there's also mental health too. We covered.
There's spiritual, mental, physical, emotional. There's all kinds of different health.
And it's all connected.
It's all connected.
And so in the last video, I gave you a little example about when I was dealing with
Connected to what? Your spirit? Is that what you said? Connected to your spirit.
It's all connected to you. It's all connected to you, the fullness of you.
Fullness of you.
And so last video I gave a little example of when I was dealing with extreme anxiety, panic attacks, to relate to anybody that's dealing with any stress. And then I learned from the natural path the physical things like food and water. So another step was I was seeing a therapist, and you brought up, what was it, therapy? You just go and you talk.
Oh yeah, therapy, they just want you to talk about your problems non-stop. They want you to relive it and really feel it in your body and tell them all about it. And then right before you get nowhere, they cut you off until you come back next time, and it just prolongs you every time, reliving that moment. It's like PTSD really is what it comes down to. They help you create PTSD for yourself over and over with no solutions.
And think about it, there's many of us that have then been also trained that if we're not seeing a therapist, then we're just going and unloading that same stuff to our friends. How many friendships that you get together and you just talk about your problems, right? And it never really goes anywhere. And so
it creates more problems is what it really does for everybody, including the planet, including me. So that's a whole industry in itself. And so right now we're not at all going to go deep into problems because already you have them, we have them, everybody has them. But what are some solutions?
So within the loop that I was experiencing back then of going to the therapist, I eventually commanded a different resolution. They had me on meds, and it was just that repetitive story. I'm like, no, I want a different resolution, something else to give a try, because this isn't working. And eventually, she did sign me up for a program that was called Mindful Meditation Cognitive Behavioral Therapy, and it was mainly more for nurses, doctors, therapists, so people within the field that were stressed out doing the work that they were doing. And so it was a very wonderful opportunity. It was somebody not being quite on that level to be able to go in and experience this new form, which nowadays I can see, at the time I didn't quite understand, but it's quite related to, if you're familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's made quite a name for himself. It's going into reprogramming. So we had different things of tapes to listen to reprogram the subconscious mind, and learning how to meditate, right? So learning how to be mindful in not just meditation of like clearing your mind so you can just get it to be completely clear and see what else can come in, but also being mindful in your day-to-day, while you're eating, while you're walking. And so within that, I got to learn for the first time what mindfulness was and how to be more present here in the now. Because often we're caught in stories of the, past, or worries about the future. I still end up in those loops sometimes, and it's okay. I just pull myself out and I'm like, okay, no, receive and come back here to the now. So within this, it's a long little train of, that was the beginning of recognizing that there was another way of being able to deal with anxiety and mental health.
So if you feel like there's no way out, there is.
There is, which later led to theta healing. I became a theta healing practitioner. I saw the correlation between that because, once again, it was going into muscle testing beliefs. So we were diving deep to recognize different beliefs that you may be holding.
Beliefs? When you say beliefs, you mean like not like I believe in Jesus, or I believe in the devil, or I believe in being, what do you mean beliefs? Like religious beliefs or sexual preference beliefs? Like, are you talking like I don't know, what kind of beliefs are you talking about? What does that mean, beliefs?
That's a great question. There's multiple levels of beliefs. Just to give an example, some of the first beliefs that were tested for was, I love myself. And how many people were like, yeah, of course I love myself. And it was a no. Or I know how to be joyful. Or I am worthy. So different beliefs that
whether you believed you loved yourself, or whether you believed you were worthy, or whether you believed in yourself at all, like.
Yes, I believe that I can't be spiritual and financially prosperous. There's certain beliefs. So
negative and positive beliefs about anything.
Yes.
Including the way that you do just simple things every day.
So the main, it would be whatever somebody's going through. It's usually like a little bit of a theme that they come in with, and so you would test on beliefs that could be related to that, to see if they can believe here, but then it's our subconscious, right? So that's when we're getting into our conscious and unconscious.
So a client comes into your magical area where you do your sessions, and they come in with a main reason why they're there, right?
Like I said, not everyone, but a lot of people wait till they're dealing with something physically. And so that happened a lot.
So people are coming in and they say, I have this physical problem and I don't know how to help myself with it. Can you help me? And you say, okay, what are your beliefs? And they say, I don't know. And then you help them discover what their beliefs are, whether they're in alignment or out of alignment, and how they got to where they were using energy.
They have their story. Everyone has their story. So most people come in with their story, well, this is that, and blah, blah, blah. And also...
And this is why, and this is how, and this is who's to blame, usually.
Yes, it's often a victim role. We all get caught at one point in our life with feeling like a victim. And there's also some tools for, if it's a physical element, we have some magical beings like Louise Hay, and then also Julia Cannon, who is the daughter of Dolores Cannon, which we have taken QHHT to become QHHT practitioners.
Quantum healing hypnosis technician, therapists, basically, but we're not therapists yet because we don't believe in therapy, so we're just practitioners of a past life regression.
So you can see how it's related.
Yeah, she was a therapist, though, Dolores Cannon, and her daughter might actually be a therapist, and after thousands and thousands and thousands of clients.
Yeah, so for how they did the rapport within that is, so we're skipping ahead a little bit, but it's fine. It's all kind of connected. So theta healing and QHHT, it's all connected, just a little bit of a different approach.
Because it's hypnosis based, and hypnosis comes with theta. You have to be in that perfect, okay, so there's beta, alpha, theta, delta, gamma brainwave activity. And when we're talking, having this conversation, we're in mid beta activity, what's going on. If I ask you, go ahead and tell me what I said for the last half an hour, you're probably gonna be like, well, I don't know what, I don't. You're gonna go into high beta immediately, which is alert, and then you're gonna be like, no, I was just joking, chill out, relax and breathe. Now you went back to mid beta, and then you'll go to low beta when you become really calm. And as you're going to sleep at night, as you start to enter, as you close your eyes and you start to imagine, you go into alpha. You start to imagine, and then you drop into theta. And as soon as you drop into theta, that's a state of the brainwave activity where hypnosis is actually relevant. And so I think how it links to what you were saying is that Dolores Cannon came up with all of this stuff. She had thousands of cases of people whom she helped out. Her daughter saw that there was all of these things linked with all of these cases and past life regressions, and she started to make a book of all of the different.
It's the physical things. I'm not sure how Louise Hay came up with her relations, but I know with Julia, she recognized that most people that say we're dealing with cancer, it was dealing with anger.
Okay.
And depending on what part of the body that the cancer was at, maybe it was like, I think it was something within the male organs. It was like a suppressed anger of not speaking up for themselves over time. And
Gotcha.
so, and then we have like whatever's going on the right side or left side, so different body parts. So there was
so how and where it affects
report.
you and where you're having your physical pain. So when your clients come into your office, you're assessing where they have their pain, and then you're assessing whether or not that relates to their emotional issues and what they're dealing with in their life and how that correlates and relates.
Yes.
And then you're saying in the beginning that actually goes back to maybe what they're eating and what they're drinking. And to maybe they don't have any nutrients, and so maybe they're repeating something from a past life in this life, and those are the blocks that are causing them to have these problems. And then those problems they're trying to get rid of by maybe going to the doctor, and the doctor gives them all of these different ways to deal with it, and it doesn't go away, and they don't know what else to do, and that's why they would go for a past life regression. And then they would start to see that there are these things happening in past lives that they're carrying into these lives that are causing these problems here. And once they resolve those problems there, they get resolved in this place. And so in the theta healing, like you're talking about, you do theta healing where it is that you help build rapport with your clients and help them figure out on a very easy basis, connecting with them in a long conversation about their life without them complaining, but really letting you know, like, I do have these problems and I just want to communicate them and get them out. And now I'm not complaining, but this is what they are. And then, can you help me? And then you say,
the difference,
maybe.
I would say, between the theta healing and between the quantum healing hypnosis is in theta healing, we were trained to go into theta state ourselves. So we would just like sit with the client and then have our own meditation method, which I expanded on as a meditation to share with others so they can get into their own theta state, to then be able to connect. Really, any healings or anything you're doing, yes, it is coming through, but it's not from you. It's from source, something grander that created us and everything to be here. And so you're connecting with that. I guess this is where it kind of gets linked to the spirituality and in essence in this aspect, right? Because you need to believe. Doesn't matter what God you believe or anything. It's just a source, something that is that has given
something
us
that created
life.
everything in existence that you're connected to,
Yes.
and you connect with that as a theta practitioner. And when you connect with that first, then you're offering your connection that you're connected to as an extension of yourself. You're allowing the client to feel your connection to the source, which then you help assist them in them doing their own healing. But you're doing a lot of the work because they don't know what's wrong with them. They don't know how they got there, and
You're having to do most of the work within asking the proper questions, and why you're doing the muscle testing is to show them, really, it's so they have something physical to see.
we're talking kinesiology, correct?
Yeah, kinesiology. So they're physically getting to see, like I mentioned before, with the I love myself. And it's like, yeah, of course I love myself. But then it muscle tests at a no, they're like, oh, whoa. So there's many levels of that. So then they like physically get to see, and so then we can go from there. And once we see what these beliefs are, then we get to install new beliefs within that theta state.
So that ties back into beliefs like you were talking earlier.
Yes.
When what is beliefs? So we're talking about going back to those beliefs.
And then it can be on multiple different levels. How you brought up past lives, so it can be from our lineage. It can be from past lives. Like, where is it stored? There can be vows, agreements, contracts that we've made in other lifetimes.
Like maybe I
different
agreed in
times.
my last life that I did something wrong, so I wanted to suffer, and I don't deserve love or happiness or to be successful ever because I did something so wrong. I can't forgive myself, and I'm so guilty for that. I can never forgive myself, and then I died, and then I was born in this life, and in this whole life, I can never let myself succeed. I can never ever, no matter what. I feel so guilty, and I don't know why, and I've never done anything wrong in this life, and I feel so bad, and I just can't help myself. I don't know what to do. I've taken everything in existence. I've been depressed over and over and over, and I'm really willing and able to actually change this, and I don't know what to do.
So within that, then that would be more where we could kind of go more into the quantum healing hypnosis, where you're bringing them into a past life regression. Because then within the past life regression, so the difference with the Dolores method that we learned and now we're incorporating it all together into our own thing is you, the client, is actually, not that you're doing most of the work, but you are actually speaking. So we're getting you into that deep hypnosis, into the deep theta state. So as the practitioner, you're bringing the client into the deep theta state instead of yourself, and you're there just as an investigator, and your job is to ask the right questions to be able to get information that's valid for them, that's related to their life now, to assist them. And then you go through a past life, and then you contact their higher self. You could call it the Akashic records, some would say, the subconscious.
So either in both situations, when we're talking energy, frequency, vibration, and when you come into the office and or to the sacred space that we're performing any of this, is that you come in with your physical problems or mental problems or spiritual problems, whatever they are, and then you set them out, and we then look at them as synchronicity detectives, and we go back and forth, male and female, back and forth on all of our different perspectives together as we then look at that, and we say, this is an interesting thing, because she could use the theta meditation as a theta practitioner to lead you in a state of meditation, guiding you from your heart space, rooting you down into the earth and grounding you in, which you really need to be grounded in all the spiritual stuff that we're talking about, because number one, health and vitality is actually being grounded, being rooted. Like taking your shoes off and putting your feet into the grass is the best idea you possibly have for a few minutes a day, every single day. Because this grounding then grounds out all of that energy that's blocked in us that actually causes a lot of our stress. So when we do that, we ground down this big gigantic vision into this life, into this now. My beloved leads these meditations, which I've recognized as she's led me through them, that it grounds me down, and I feel that grounding, and then I come back up, and then she helps me go out of my body, which is interesting, because leaving my body sitting here safe and going above it and then looking down at it as I travel up and see the earth way down there, it changes my perspective really, 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 because I no longer am my body or my problems or anything for just a little bit of time. And then she brings me back down through this guided place, and then I sit back in my power, and at that time, she's been incorporating the QVHT now, as what we call it, where we actually come into this place where then you're in your past life at that moment. And at that moment, then we lead you through that past life by asking you the proper questions, and we record it all. And then you answer the questions with your voice, in your higher self's voice rather, or in your many other voices, depending on how many lives you've lived and how many we get to go through in the session. And then when you get on the other side of it, we look back and we tie it all up and say, what was the purpose of all of that? Like this video, what's the purpose of all that?
As I mentioned in the first video, health and vitality and wellness is such a huge topic.